Welcome to the breakfast show on Faith FM with Skafy and guests. Today, if you're listening live, it's 13th of January, the Tuesday. This is the best place to start your day with positive and uplifting thoughts. You're listening across Australia on 87.6, 87.8, or 88, depending on where you are. And I have a new guest here with me today.
A new old guest.
Yeah, a guest that is, known for most of you, and it is the great Shells. Welcome, Shells.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. It's good to have you here with your bubbly energy and voice. And, of course, on the other side of the studio here, we have our team of producers, the S&L team, the SL team today. The XL team.
The XL team.
Yes, the SL team. We have Shell and we have Tish. Joining us. Good morning to you, Tish.
Good morning.
And Shell as well. It's great to have you both here. I am going to start my word of gratitude for you, Shells.
All right.
I am grateful. Do you know for what? For para-athletes.
Oh, okay.
I'm grateful for para-athletes. Yesterday, I tried to go for a swim.
Yeah.
And as I was, preparing to get into the pool, I saw this young lady. And she had one prosthetic leg, the full leg, but she was wearing her swimmers, her swimsuit. And then later on, I saw she was swimming, and she was swimming like a dolphin. She was swimming like a fish, so graciously and fast and streamlined. I was like really impressed. I had my kids with me. They were asking, "Daddy, what has happened to that? That girl." So look, I don't know. So many things could have happened. Do you want to go and ask her? And they were afraid. They didn't want to go. But I was really so impressed because she had such a smile from ear to ear. She had a great attitude, and I think that we a lot of people could have seized that disability. Not having one leg, and blamed God or blamed the world or made excuses just to be miserable, but not that girl. She was chasing after it. She was with her friends, with her mates. She was like swimming. She was crushing the time. It was just something to behold. I felt like she was at that moment like, hey, if there are superhumans among us, here's one of them.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, very grateful for having seen that. What about you, Shells? Are you grateful for anything this morning?
I'm always grateful. Do you know, I really love God's word. Just those moments where you open it up and just a verse speaks to your heart. And I had that last night, and I don't know, it's just something special. I'm grateful for God's word this morning.
Okay, very good. Do you remember what verse it was?
It was the one where Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Ah, yes. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
I don't remember where that's from. Do you remember where that's from?
I believe that this is from the book of Hebrews or James. I have to...
We'll fact check.
We have to fact check that one. But yeah, I know I think it's from... I believe it's from the book of Hebrews. And your verse is in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 8. Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
That's kind of special. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'm about to jump in. I was going to say, it is special if you think about it.
Very special.
It's like, he doesn't change.
That's right.
I love that.
Very, very special. Well, Charles, do you know what we have coming up in our show today? We are going to be asking the question, how much of your future actually depends on you doing the right things? We're going to be looking for answers to that in the Bible, but also we're going to be talking in our second hour about a new powers that New South Wales councils have to shut down houses of prayer.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
And how do you feel about playing a quiz game with me, Shells? Are you ready for one?
Got to warm myself up for 2026.
Okay. I'm feeling warmed up actually today. I had a great night of sleep yesterday, so I'm feeling that my brain is working a little bit better than it was yesterday, producer Shell. So let's see if I'm going to live up to my brain's, how my brain is
Did
feeling.
Dr. Dan beat you yesterday?
I don't remember, actually.
That's a definite yes. I definitely got beat yesterday.
Conveniently don't remember.
I don't remember being beaten. You see, there's upsides about having a bit of a zombie brain. Okay, producer Shell, let us know, please. What is the quiz question number 1? Or is it going to be Letitia?
It's me today.
Okay, Tish. All right.
Our first quiz question is, who was called to follow Jesus on the road to Damascus?
I know this one.
Who was called to follow Jesus on the road to Damascus? Correct answers here.
That's a nice one. Just to warm up. Just to get some of the brain juices flowing.
Had to think for a second.
Yes. Thank you very much, Tish. If you do know the answer to that one, please do let us know. Text us here. Play with us. 0491 064 669 is our number. Save it to your contact list. Who was the person? What's the name of the person whom Jesus invited to follow him in the road to Damascus? By the way, I've been there. I've been to Damascus many years ago. I was, I think, 10 or 11 years old. My father took me there. We did a bit of sightseeing, tourism, and I did see the house where that person was taken to after he was called by Jesus, after he saw Jesus.
Is this one of these things where it's real and the
It's
house
real.
is definite, or
Yeah.
like they've just named a house?
No, it's the actual house.
Oh,
It's the actual house, yeah. So that one is there.
exciting.
Yeah. So, 2,000-year-old construction.
You got to be careful what you say.
Yeah.
We can't give you guys the answer.
Yeah. All right, 0491 064 669. This is also the number to text if you were born in January. If you were born in January, doesn't matter if it's in Australia or overseas, you are entitled to a perk. And the perk is you can get into the birthday draw of The Breakfast Show. So we have selected a number of gifts that we believe you are going to love. I actually believe that you're not going to know what to choose because they're all so nice. We have amazing leather-bound zipper Bibles, high quality. We have some of the best wholesome board games available in the market. If you are a board game fan, we have Bibleopoly, we have Wingspan, we have a few others here. You can get a cookbook. And when we talk about cookbook, I'm not talking about, these, cookbooks that you can buy in like service stations and, it's like 15 pages with recipes that you already know what to do. No. We're talking about the best cookbooks that will improve your health, the health of your family, will give you tons of amazing ideas. So, including things like the Revive Cafe cookbooks by Jeremy Dixon. He talks to us every month here on the show. We have Sue Red's cookbook that won the world's best cookbook award internationally. It's like an exquisite book. It just feels amazing. And we also have, vouchers. If you say, look, Skafy, I actually have one very specific thing that I want to buy. Can I get some hard cash? So, yep, here it is. It's in your hand. But you cannot get any of that unless you text us your date of birth. If it's in January, 0491 064 669. What is your birthday? And we're going to be praying for you as well.
And you don't have to give your year you're born if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Really, all you need is the day.
That's right. We just need a day. Okay? And moving on, we are going to open up our Bible. We've been studying the book of Genesis this week. We'll be reading through the book of Genesis. In particular, yesterday, Shells, we started with the story of Esau and Jacob. They were at odds at each other. They were fighting. They were competing with one another from their mother's womb. Already, they were twins.
There was a
And later on, we saw, yesterday, we talked about a day and a time where Esau, the oldest brother, because he was the oldest by virtue of literally a few seconds, but he was the oldest boy, and he sold his birthright. He despised actually his birthright. Says, how do you take me? You have my birthright. And, because he was so hungry, he just wanted his brother to give him some food. So it was a very messy situation, but it tells you how careless he was for his birthright. And now we are fast forwarding. So we spoke all about that yesterday. If you missed it, it was a really, really great Bible study. You can catch it up through the podcast show notes. If you would like to get a link for that, you can text me here. We'll send you the link too. That's no problem at all. But what also we do want to do is to see how that story will progress, will continue. And we're fast forwarding here perhaps some years. We don't know exactly how much time. The Bible has, between that story and the story that we're going to be telling today, the Bible has, it talks about Isaac building wells, going to places, building wells and building his wealth, and how God really built his wealth. Isaac, I think that he would be what today we would call at least a multimillionaire.
Okay.
And because God has blessed him, he had a great attitude, but God has really blessed him. And, so he had a multitude of flocks, of servants. He would buy well after well after well after well. And wells, whenever you see a well in the Bible, it's kind of like having a gas station here,
Okay.
a petrol station in Australia. It's the equivalent. This is the ancient times equivalent of a petrol station. Because guess what? People drove or rode camels.
And they needed water.
They needed water, and not just a tiny bit of them.
Okay.
It was a hydrogen tech camels. Hydrogen fueled. So many years later, now Isaac is in his deathbed. He's old. He's blind. He doesn't know when his last day is going to be. So he decides to put his affairs all in day and to talk to the boys about inheritance and the blessings. And this is where our story is picking up. So imagine the scene. Imagine you are inside of Isaac's lush tent. You see pillows and couches everywhere. You see a small little kitchen, and perhaps you see rugs and beautiful things hanging there. And Isaac is there, laying in his bed, very, very old, and he decides to call his son. So let's read here verse 1 of Genesis chapter 27, please, Shells.
Okay, I was waiting for the chapter. I was like, what chapter were we in? Hang on, 27:1.
Yeah.
Now it came to pass when Isaac was old and his eyes were so dim that he could not see, that he called Esau his older son and said to him, my son. And he answered him, here I am.
Yes, keep going. Just keep reading.
Then he said, behold, I am old. I do not know the day. I'm so sorry, I got a frog in my throat.
That's no worries.
Okay, it came back. Okay, then he said, behold now, I am old.
Sorry, let me just catch the frog here because I need to release him back into the wild.
Oh, do you know that's funny? My mother-in-law has like the worst fear of frogs ever. Like my husband got sent walking home one day because he teased her with a frog. Like, yeah, that's funny. Sorry. Okay.
Right, no. Okay. No, the
frog's
frog is
all safe.
released. Yeah, it's in the little pond here that we created for him. Okay, let's keep going here. Verse 2.
All right, so we're up to verse 2. Then he said, behold now, I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now, therefore, please take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt game for me, and make me savory food, such as I love, and bring it to me that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die.
Yeah. So Jacob was a big fan. We spoke yesterday about of venison. Deer meat.
Isn't it? Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. And he says, son, just cook me one last time that venison dish, that game dish that I love so much. And when you come back, and after I have eaten, I will bless you. I'll give the blessings. And that blessing is look, we're living in a time here that they did not have register officers anywhere. They didn't have courts as such. It was really the wild east at that time. So people says words were their contracts. Were what matters. So this is not any regular blessings. Like, hey, Dad, can you bless me? Yeah, here you go, my son. God bless you. Go off you go. No, we're talking about an official blessing that would be spoken of in front of witnesses.
I remember when I was young, the idea of someone's word was really like my dad always instilled in us. It was I think it still came through the generations that if you shake on it and you give your word, then, you got to honor that. If you don't, that's just dishonorable.
Yeah. So imagine that, but 100 times more. This is, ancient times because this is what people had, the word. So let's keep reading here. Let's read from verse 5 now.
Now Rebekah was listening when Isaac spoke to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt game and to bring it. So Rebekah spoke to Jacob her son, saying, indeed, I heard your father speak to Esau your brother, saying, bring me game and make savory food for me, that I may eat it and bless you in the presence of the Lord before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to what I command you. Go now to the flock and bring me from there 2 choice kids of the goats, and I will make savory food from them for your father, such as he loves.
Okay, let's pause here.
Okay.
So there was someone overhearing that conversation. That someone was Rebekah, Esau's mother, and Isaac's wife. And Rebecca, she loved Jacob. She favored Jacob over Esau, while the father favored Esau over Jacob. We spoke about that yesterday. And she, overhearing it, she was afraid because I would say, you can say that she was a controlling woman. I think that is very fair to say. I'm sorry if
You
if
did
I'm
plural,
ruining.
that's a women.
What? Woman.
A woman.
Yeah. She's a very controlling woman, and you can see this throughout.
We can be as
Pepper.
mothers. I would like to say that sometimes as mothers, we can try to take control. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think that she's a little bit overboard.
You reckon more?
I have this impression because I'll tell you what. No, number one, and look, yes, of course, there's a little bit of Rebecca in all of us.
Yes.
In that regard, but remember that when she was pregnant, God told her a prophecy where the youngest son would, be the master of the oldest, meaning Jacob would be the master over Esau. That was what God revealed to her, which was something quite unusual because usually we think about the older son taking on the leadership position and the youngest son taking more of the servant position. Yeah. But God was going to alter these things. And Rebecca wanted to make sure that these happen. Now, she did not trust that God would make this happen somehow. So she wanted to force it to happen through deception.
It's interesting too. It's in that hardest moment when they're on the cusp of change. Yeah. I mean, he's dying, and she probably thinks she's doing God's will here. Like
she's thinking the 100% that she's doing God's will. She's thinking that she's playing a part in God's prophecies.
It's the hardest time to hold on in faith, isn't it?
It is. It's just instead of just trusting in God that God is going to do it. No, let me take this matter to my own hands. And she comes to Jacob, who is a grown up man. He's not a child by any means. He's a grown up, adult, fully bearded man.
Fully bearded.
and she comes to him and says, "Now therefore, my son, listen to me as I command you." I mean, you cannot go bossier than that. She said, this is an order kind of situation. It says, "Go take 2 young kids from the flock, and I'm going to prepare the dish that your father loves." Probably because she was probably the one who taught Esau how to prepare the dish, because she probably, I don't know. I'm speculating here, but it's not far to think that Esau, who liked to cook, actually both of them liked to cook, Jacob and Esau, that they learned to cook from the mother. So the mother knew how the father enjoyed his food. She knew the seasonings that were available. So she said, "Look, I'm going to prepare it for you, and I have everything laid out. I have a plan, and you are going to get God's blessings just as He promised me. Don't worry, son." She was worried that Isaac was not going to give Jacob the blessing that was due. Particularly, and we're talking about blessing here, we're talking about a particular blessing, which is the blessing that Isaac received himself from God, which is the exact same blessing that Abraham received, was passed on to him. And that blessing was, one day your seed will be a blessing to all the world. This is the messianic blessing, that the Savior of the world would come through him. Yeah. So let's see what happens after that. So she commanded the fully bearded Jacob, and he says, "Listen to me, do as I say, and go to the flock, bring to your father," and everything. And then Jacob, look at Jacob's response. Shells, can you read verse 11 for us?
"And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, 'Look, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth-skinned man. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall seem to be a deceiver to him, and I shall bring a curse on myself and not a blessing.'"
He says, "Mom, are you sure? I don't think this is going to end up right."
Yeah.
Like his gut feeling was already saying everything. And look, he was right. He was right. And we will see what's the mother's response going to be. But in a pinch.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
And we're now going to reveal the answer to our previous quiz question and get a new one served. So, Letitia, please.
Yep. So the answer for our last quiz question was Paul.
Paul, yes.
I wrote Saul.
Saul.
Same
Saul.
guy. He just had a name
Yeah.
Same
change.
guy.
Yeah, he did. Look, he didn't have his name changed. A lot of people think that
Okay.
Saul, he was first Saul, then Paul, and he changed his name. The Bible never actually says that. Because and I get where the confusion comes from. It's very reasonable because there are a lot of important characters in the Bible that did get their name changes. Jacob, whom we're talking about just today, is one of them. Jacob, then God gave him a new name, or should we say kind of a nickname, Israel. And before that, Abraham, God starts calling, he was known before as Abram, and he becomes Abraham. But Saul and Paul, God never changed Saul's name. Saul is a very Hebrew, very Jewish name.
Yeah.
King Saul from the Bible is based on him, and he was from the same tribe, from the tribe of Benjamin. So it was not uncommon for Jewish parents to name their children after famous relatives from the same genealogy, from the same tribe. But Paul was basically his Latin name.
Oh, so it was like the interpretation of Saul.
Yeah, kind of like interpretation of Saul, or a name that was more, palatable and more international, I guess. It's not unlike, for example, you've met, people with Asian origins, particularly from, let's say, Chinese, Taiwanese, and you ask their names and they say, "My name is Peter." Their English name is Peter, but perhaps their actual Chinese names is completely something different.
Yeah.
That's roughly what happened here with the Apostle Paul. So with that being said, do we have a new question, Tish?
We do, and this one is a fill in the blank.
Okay.
Okay, so bear one another's blank, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6:2.
Yeah, I know this one.
Bear one another's blank, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6:2.
Yeah.
Yes, correct answers from here.
Okay, if you do know the answer to that, fill in the blank. 0491064669 is the text line. And one more time, Tish, what was the blank again that you are after?
The blank we are after is bear one another's blank, and so fulfill the law of Christ, which can be found in Galatians 6:2.
Okay, Galatians 6:2, bear one another's blank. What is the blank? 0491064669. Let's get back here to our Bible study here, shall we? Shells?
All right.
We're looking at the story of Jacob, and Jacob is saying to his Mom, I don't think this is going to work. Don't think this is a great idea, Mom. I mean, this can backfire.
I found it interesting too,
spectacularly.
like he says in there, because doesn't his name mean deceiver?
So no, he
No?
named no. So not quite.
Okay.
Not quite. We spoke about it yesterday, but it's good that you brought that up because there might be someone who hasn't heard that part. We often say Jacob means deceiver.
Okay.
Deceiver. Jacob ended up becoming a synonym of deceiving, but what it means is ankle. Because when he was born, he was holding on to his brother's ankle.
Okay.
Now, ankle, it can have the meaning of deceiving. For example, I think that the closest thing to our culture that I think we can get it is like, you're holding someone's ankle. Or, when you're playing soccer and then you tackle someone, and you just like,
Tap the ankle.
You tap someone's ankle with your foot and then, you make them fall. That's kind of the broad meaning that can be ascribed to it. So he was just named after this historical fact of his birth, that he was like holding on tight to his ankle. Later on, he's actually going to be changing that name very profoundly to Israel, but it has very similar connotation. This time he was not holding his brother's ankle to trip him down, but he'll be holding on into the ankle of God because he wouldn't let him go until he blessed him.
Yeah,
And God says, you know what? Your holding of the ankle is no longer going to be the holding of the ankle to deceive someone, but now holding of the ankle that someone that has struggled with God and has prevailed.
That's beautiful.
Someone that has persevered in their spiritual struggle. So God resignified his name and transformed it into something, a connotation that was something negative into something positive. And
I feel like God did that for me, So I'm
okay.
about to tell everybody a secret about myself.
All right. Tell us a secret.
Rochelle is not my first name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are we recording this, Shell? We have a revelation today. Okay,
So-
tell me. I didn't know this. Rochelle is not your first
Rochelle
name.
is like a version of Rachel, and it means like, I think it's like you lamb, something like that, something like lamb. But my first name is actually Julie. But my parents liked it written Julie Rochelle, but they always called me Rochelle from birth. And it's funny. So Julie means like vivacious.
Yeah.
And if you had known me when I was younger, I was very gregarious and outgoing and vivacious. So I feel like in essence, I was more of a Julie when I was younger. But obviously when God came into my life and I could see the significance of the name Rachel and Lamb, I'm like, wow, Lord, thank you. The last thing I feel like is like a gentle, sweet soft lamb, but I'll take it, Lord, thank you.
Oh,
So I
that's
feel-
that's such a cute story.
Yeah.
You do look like a little bit of a Julie now that you're saying.
Thanks.
Now that you're saying it,
I'm a vivacious Julie.
I can see a Julie in you, but I like Rochelle as well. So very good. So yeah, that's
What does your name mean again?
my name means it's a prayer. He's asking God for more blessings. Joseph.
Okay.
Yeah, Joseph. Very good. Let's keep going here. So Jacob is trying to advise his mom. Mom, this is not going to work. And then let's see what mom responds to him in verse 13.
But his mother said to him, "Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go get them for me."
I mean,
That's a big...
last words, Well, these were one of the last words that Jacob would ever hear from his mom.
Yeah.
And you see how she's saying, "Hey, don't worry about it. I've got this. Let the curse come on me. I'll take the blame. Just trust me." But for a fully grown man to say, "Hey, my mom made me do this," doesn't really feel right. So the reality is, Jacob went there, but his mother ended up misleading him.
Because no matter how much she said that, he definitely took a portion of that curse.
He took a portion because
Without
he didn't
it.
need to.
Yeah.
But his mom, but you see how, I wanted to say persuasive, but you see how even manipulative
Yeah.
she has been here. She's saying, no. Do what I said. Leave the consequences to me. I pick the blame if anything. Trust me. It's all going to go well. And
I
unfortunately.
can feel her panic in that, though, almost like the anxiety of, God told me this was how it's going to be. And like the anxiousness of, it's about to be lost in a moment of, Isaac is going to die. And I can feel that in her.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's keep reading here. Now, let's read a big chunk here because let's speed up a little bit the story so I can show you something really interesting.
And he went and got them and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory food, such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took the choice clothes of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. Then she gave the savory food and bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob. So he went to his father and said, "My father." And he said, "Here I am. Who are you, my son?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done just as you told me. Please arise, sit and eat of my game, that your soul may bless me." But Isaac said to his son, "How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son?" And he said, "Because the Lord your God brought it to me." Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come near, that I may feel you, my son, whether you are really my son Esau or not." So Jacob went near to Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, "The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau."
Let's just pause here for just a quick second here. So Jacob is impersonating his brother Esau. His mom brought him his brother's best clothes. He's wearing them. They carry Esau's smell. She managed to sew some goat skins, probably from the goats that maybe. Look, I don't know if it's from the goats that Jacob just brought to her, or if it was something. I think that it's something that she had already premeditated. To be honest, she had a plan because look, I'm a smooth skinned person versus my brother. He's like super hairy, and she made these little kind of a gloves and kind of this neck thing with the goat kids' fur on them, so that when the father would touch his hands, he'd say, "Hey, man, your hands are hairy."
So we're throwing
Just
out
like
the possibility
Esau's.
that she had premeditated this moment.
I think she premeditated, and just because, hey, We don't know how much time has elapsed, but it looks like it was not a lot of time. And in that time, she had to cook the stew, prepare the bread. And I know she's a woman. I know that she's a mom. She's a multitasker. She can do these things very quickly. But to cut the hide, dry the hide from the blood, and prepare it, cut it to suit into Jacob's hands. I think that this thing would have been taken some time, at least a couple of hours. So Isaac, she's trying to figure out. He says, "Hey, I'm listening to your voice. You're sounding exactly like my son Jacob. Are you sure you're Esau?" And then he touches his hands and he feels the hairy hands. The hands feel like Esau's. He comes to him and says, "Hey, can you come here? Come here closer to me so I can give you a kiss." And he pulls him down. He can feel the texture of Esau's clothes and feel the smell. That's right. He can feel the smell of Esau in Jacob.
Because of the clothes, yeah.
And Jacob ended up deceiving his father. So let's hear in verse 23 now.
And he did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. Yeah. So he blessed him. Then he said, "Are you really my son Esau?" He said, "I am." So
Jacob was like, "Man, everything in me is telling me that you're not my son Esau." But like the hands, how did you do that? He didn't see it coming. That was the perfect. That was the crux of the matter. That was the how do you call it? That was the trump card in Rebecca's hand. So let's read here from verse 27.
Down to 27. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his clothing and blessed him and said, "Surely the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed. Therefore may God give you of the dew of heaven, of the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be those who bless you."
Yeah, here you go. There's something here in that blessing that at this moment, Rebecca would have been cheering in triumph, at least inside of her heart. Because remember, God said, "Hey, the older son will serve the younger."
Yeah.
And when Jacob was giving a blessing, and he thought that this blessing was going to be to Esau, pay attention to his words. He says, "Be master of your brothers, and may your mother's son bow down to you." So he's giving a blessing to Esau, saying, "Hey, I want you to be a leader among your brothers, among the nations. You will be their master. They will serve you." And Rebecca's probably saying, "Aha, I told you. I knew this was going to happen. I'm so glad that he's saying this to Jacob and not to Esau."
Yeah.
However,
Okay.
what do you think would have happened had she trusted in God to fulfill his own words?
Well, they're the moments where it's like, I can't wait to find out. How would God have done it?
I think that God would have done it. This is the thing. God's plans cannot be frustrated.
And Abraham and Sarah show that. Like how many times they tried to fulfill the promise themselves and it led through paths of disaster. Yet God did it by a miracle.
Right. Could God have blessed Jacob irrespective of how the father's blessings went or didn't go? Or was God limited to human beings' designs when he wants to bless?
No, absolutely
not. God would have come and brought about somehow. We don't know exactly how. But we see that even in Isaac's case, there's one instance that Isaac sowed a field and he made 100-fold what he sowed in 1 year, in that same season. This is like investing in the stock market and multiplying the cash that you invested for 100 by purely God's blessings. Imagine you put that $1,000, I have $1,000, I'll put it here. And by the end of the year, hey, this $1,000 became $100,000. This is exactly what happened to Isaac when God blessed him. So they should know that God's blessings do not depend on what others are going to be doing towards your life. And this is, remember in the beginning I started by saying this. I said, hey, how much of our future actually depends on you and your choices? And I'll say, when we are in God's hands, God's plan for our life is not really on us so much. Our job is just to show up in faithfulness, in faith to God. God will do the rest. Does not matter who's trying to step over you. Does not matter all the things that from a human perspective are wrong. God is going to fulfill his plan for your life as long as you stay faithful to him. And I think that, isn't that amazing to take the burden of, it's all on me. It's all on me. It's all on my intelligence. It's all on my craft. It's all on my, witness. God said, no. Relax. Your part, your duty is just to stay connected to me. Just to stay faithful to me. Just show up. And you will see, I am going to be the one blessing you. And I am going to bless you in supernatural ways, in ways that you do not expect. So if you're feeling that a heavy burden today in your heart, saying, hey, it's all on me. The future of my life, my destiny, what's going to happen to my life, it's all on me. God's saying, hey, relax. It's actually on me. Your part is just to trust. Just to trust, just show up, just come to me, and I'm going to do the rest. I'm going to bless you. When Isaac was blessed 100-fold for what he has sown, it was not because of his cleverness. It was not because of his agricultural knowledge or expertise. The Bible says it was because God wanted to make him prosper. And he showed up and God prospered him. And that the same thing would have happened to Jacob if he didn't do so. Now, the mother tried to do something good for Jacob. She tried to protect him. Result, she would not see him again in 20 years.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
Okay. Finishing up the story of when Jacob stole the blessing that belonged to Esau. And Shells, one of the things that I like about that story is there is a very strong parallel between how Isaac treated Jacob and how God treats us.
Okay.
For example, Jacob was blind. In the same way, God's love for us is also blind. God's love for us is blind for our flaws of character. He loves us in spite of them. He doesn't take that into account when he's loving us. Number one. Number two, in the same way that Isaac heard Jacob's voice, God also hears our voice. He knows that we are flawed. However, in the same way that Jacob was covered by goat skin over his hand, so are we covered by Christ's righteousness. Jacob smelled like Esau. In the same way, God smells in us the perfume of Christ through the faith that we have in him. And finally, Jacob got the blessing that belonged to Esau, the firstborn. And we also get the undeserved blessing that belongs to the firstborn, Jesus, even when we don't deserve it. So in the same way that Isaac saw Esau in Jacob, it's very much like God the Father sees us through the covering of Jesus. Have you ever felt unworthy, yet blessed anyway?
That's really beautiful.
Yeah. That's a little parallel of how we are treated in Christ through God. We are now going to get the answer to the quiz question. So what was the blank that we were after, Letitia?
We were after burdens.
Burdens.
Burdens was the word for that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's can you read it for us, the complete Bible passage?
So the complete passage is, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ.
Yeah.
Galatians 6:2.
That is amazing. What are one another's burdens? Are the things that are out of our control, the big things that affect us in our lives. Now, maybe you've got cancer, or maybe you lost your job, or perhaps you're struggling with something that's beyond the normal. The Bible says, hey, we as a church, we should really bear one another's burdens, really help each other when we are going through these big times of suffering, pain, and uncertainty. And that is fulfilling the law of Christ.
Thanks for being a part of the Faith FM family. Join our community on Facebook or get in touch at 1-800-FAITH-FM.